The overhead bins slammed shut one by one as passengers settled into their seats. Marcus clutched his daughter's hand a little tighter, his heart pounding as they made their way down the narrow aisle of the packed flight from Chicago to Los Angeles. He could feel the weight of every stare, every annoyed glance from travelers who'd already claimed their spots. There was only one seat left on the entire plane, and it was in first class. Marcus had never sat in first class in his life, but today, fate had other plans. What he didn't know was that the man sitting across from him would recognize his face and everything would change in an instant. Before we dive into this incredible story, please take a moment to subscribe to Kindness World. Hit that like button if you believe in the power of human connection, and drop a comment below telling us about a time when a stranger's kindness changed your day. Your support helps us share more stories that remind us all what really matters. Now, let's continue with Marcus's journey. Marcus Thompson was exhausted. The kind of tired that settles deep into your bones after months of sleepless nights and worry. He'd been up since 4 that morning, getting his 8-year-old daughter Emma ready for this trip. Emma had been battling leukemia for 2 years, and they were flying to Los Angeles for a consultation with a specialist, their last real hope after every treatment in Chicago had failed. Marcus had sold his car, borrowed money from friends, and picked up extra shifts at the warehouse just to afford the plane tickets and medical appointments. As they walked through first class to reach their economy seats, the flight attendant stopped them with an apologetic smile. She explained that due to overbooking, there was a mix-up with their seat assignments. But miraculously, there was one available seat in first class, and since Marcus was traveling with a child who needed extra care, they could have it. Marcus almost cried right there. He'd been standing for 12 hours straight at work the night before, and every muscle in his body ached. This small mercy felt like a sign that maybe, just maybe, things would be okay. They settled into the plush leather seats, and Emma's eyes lit up with wonder. She'd never seen anything like this. The seats were wider than their whole couch at home. Marcus helped her buckle in, whispering that everything was going to be all right, though he wasn't sure he believed it himself. That's when he noticed the man across the aisle staring at him with an expression that was hard to read. The man was in his 60s, impeccably dressed in a tailored suit, with silver hair and the kind of presence that suggested importance. Marcus quickly looked away, suddenly self-conscious of his worn work jacket and scuffed shoes. The plane took off, and Emma fell asleep almost immediately, her bald head resting against Marcus's shoulder. The chemotherapy had taken her beautiful curls months ago, but to Marcus, she was still the most beautiful thing in the world. He stared out the window, fighting back tears as he wondered if this trip would save her life or just drain the last of his resources for nothing. Then he felt a gentle tap on his shoulder. The distinguished man from across the aisle was standing there, and up close, Marcus could see his eyes were red, as if he'd been crying too. The man's voice was soft when he spoke. "Excuse me, I don't mean to intrude, but I have to ask. Did you serve in the Marines? 2nd Battalion, 7th Regiment?" Marcus's breath caught in his throat. "Yes, sir. I did." "How did you know?" The man's face crumpled with emotion. "Because 15 years ago, in Fallujah, a young Marine saved my son's life. My boy was a lieutenant, and his convoy was ambushed. A corporal pulled him out of a burning vehicle, stayed with him under fire until the medevac arrived. My son survived because of that Marine's courage. We only knew his last name. Thompson. I've been looking for him ever since." Marcus felt the world tilt. "That was me," he whispered. "Lieutenant Carson. I remember. Is he okay?" The older man, Richard Carson, nodded, tears streaming down his face now. "He's alive. He's married with 2 kids. He's an architect in Seattle. And he talks about you every Veterans Day. You're his hero, Marcus. You're our family's hero." Richard glanced at Emma sleeping peacefully. "Is this your daughter?" Marcus nodded, and the whole story poured out. The diagnosis, the failed treatments, this desperate trip to California, the mountain of medical bills that kept growing no matter how many hours he worked. Richard listened to every word, his expression growing more determined. "Marcus, I need you to listen to me very carefully," Richard said, his voice firm but kind. "You saved my son's life. You gave me more years with him, gave me grandchildren I otherwise would never have known. I owe you everything. And I'm going to make sure your daughter gets every single treatment she needs, with the best doctors in the country. I'm going to make sure you never have to choose between saving your child and keeping a roof over your heads. This isn't charity. This is a debt I've been waiting 15 years to repay." Marcus couldn't speak. He couldn't even process what he was hearing. Richard continued, "I'm the CEO of Carson Medical Technologies. We develop medical equipment, and we work with the best oncology specialists in the world. Starting today, Emma is going to get the absolute best care available, and you're going to be able to focus on being her father instead of working yourself to death." By the time the plane landed in Los Angeles, arrangements had already been made. Richard had called ahead to specialists, spoken with hospital administrators, and set wheels in motion that would change everything for Marcus and Emma. The kindness Marcus had shown in a war zone 15 years ago, when he'd risked his own life without a second thought, had come full circle in the most unexpected way. Sometimes kindness is a seed we plant without knowing whether it will ever grow. We do the right thing because it's right, not because we expect anything in return. But the universe has a way of remembering. Every act of compassion ripples outward in ways we cannot predict. Marcus had simply done what his heart told him was right all those years ago, and that single moment of courage and kindness had created a chain reaction that would now save his daughter's life. Let this story remind you that no act of kindness is ever wasted. The good you put into the world matters, even when you can't see the results. Be the person who helps without expecting recognition. Be the person who shows up when others need you. Because you never know how your compassion today might change someone's entire world tomorrow.